was young, like really, like 4 or 5 years old, I learned that my mother liked two things that became a big part of my life. One was poetry. She wrote poems to myself and to my brother and sister about us. They were sort of like affirmation poems for us. And when I read it, like 5 years old, I was just like, wow, why don't we talk this way all the time? Like, though I didn't know what a metaphor was, I understood what a metaphor was. And it felt like a way to more accurately talk about the world sometimes than being literal. But she also liked plants that were all throughout our house. And I was pretty convinced that the plants were my other siblings. They all had names, they had places to be, they received a lot of care, and sometimes coming home from school, they wouldn't be in the same place. They would, like, what are y'all doing? When we're not here. And I'm pretty sure it's not always me eating the last cookie. Something is up. But the ones that I liked a lot, that caught my attention, were little spider plants that, of course, were all over the place because of the way spider plants grow. And some of them were in jars where I could see their roots growing in the water, and that just was like amazing to me. And I would sit and watch them. This is before children's programming ran on television 24 hours a day. So there were times when it was like, oh, well, there's nothing for me to do. So I learned a lot about, the little patterns and the way they grew. And watching spider plants grow was like watching slow motion fireworks with secondary and tertiary explosions of life. And we moved around a lot, and my father would grow greens and vegetables on any porch or balcony or small plot of soil or yard that we had. And seeing these vegetables and greens on my plate did something to me. It made me just feel the circuit of and the cycle of soil and life and all of these organisms working together. And sometimes we would take turns saying grace, and I would always look at my plate and thank the living beings who are becoming part of my living being. And sometimes my mother would try to end it with "in Jesus' name," and I'd be like, at the end, can we just say like the end or NC? And of course I never said that. But I wanted to focus on that exchange, that it was very primary, and wanted to keep it primary. Felt like eating was a ritual. We would also go to the park a lot. We lived in New York at the time, and many a day in Prospect Park, after running around doing whatever, I'd find myself laying on the grass and looking up at the trees and the clouds and the birds that would fly around. And it all had this feeling of being one thing with many parts. And sometimes while laying there and kind of going into some kind of, I don't know, like ecstatic state, a trance, a meditation, whatever, time would kind of slip away, and I would suddenly sometimes become aware of my mother's voice as she decided to recite a poem. There was a tree, a majestic little tree, the prettiest little tree that you ever did see. And the tree had roots, and the roots were in the ground, and the green grass grew all around and around, and the green grass grew all around. And on that tree, there was a sturdy branch, the sturdiest little branch that you ever did see. And the branch was on the tree, and the tree had roots, and the roots were in the ground, and the green grass grew all around and around, and the green grass grew all around. And on that branch, there was a little nest, the prettiest little nest that you ever did see. And sometimes my mom would sing the poem. And the nest was on the branch, and the branch was on the tree, and the tree had roots, and the roots were in the ground, and the green grass grew all around and around, and the green grass grew all around. And in that nest, there was a little egg, the cutest little egg that you ever did see. And sometimes when my mom would say, you know how this song goes, sing it with me. And by now, you know how this song goes. Sing it with me. You ready?
Yes.
And the egg was in the nest, and the nest was on the branch, and the branch was on the tree, and the tree had roots, and the roots were in the ground, and the green grass grew all around and around, and the green grass grew all around. That was good. And in that egg, there was a baby chick, the cutest baby chick that you ever did see. So, my mom liked to challenge us sometimes and do it faster. And the chick was in the egg, and the egg was in the nest, and the nest was on the branch, and the branch was on the tree, and the tree had roots in the ground, and the green grass grew all around, and the green grass grew all around. Great! Now, in that chick, there was a little heart. The most rhythmic little heart that you ever did see.